Welcome back. This video is going to be a little different for two reasons. One, I'm going to try something new at the end, so hopefully it ends up playing out how I have it pictured in my head. And two, for a few months now, I've been wanting to talk about an important detail in shop safety that I don't feel gets talked about enough, but I haven't been able to find a right context to bring it up in. And then it happened to me, so now I have the context. To start off, shop safety can be an entire series because there are so many components of it and so many nuances for each individual tool and how things can go wrong and blah blah blah. But the point that I want to focus on is the dangers that come with experience. And the reason I find this one so important is because I feel like there's this misconception that accidents in the shop happen more often to new and inexperienced people, and that as you get more and more comfortable around tools, that you become less prone to things going wrong. This is obviously true in some respect, but surprisingly, there tends to be a spike in a type of injury that happens when you get more comfortable around your tools. The type of injury that I'm talking about is a result of repetition, which you may have heard me complain about before in my previous videos. And the fact is that these repetitive actions are super common in a lot of builds. If you need to cut strips of plywood, you just run a board through a table saw multiple times. You need to cut these strips down to a smaller size, you run them through a miter saw multiple times. You need to round them out, you run them through a router multiple times. And the more you use these tools for these basic things, the easier it is for your brain to start tuning out and your muscle memory to start kicking in. It's often not even something we notice that is happening. This is very common for any repetitive task we do, and I'm sure you've experienced this in one way or another at least once in your life. Like, for example, leaving work one day and taking the same route you've been taking for years, and you get home and you realize you don't even remember walking home. Your brain just kind of took you back on autopilot. While this muscle memory is great in a lot of aspects, it is not ideal for the shop. No matter how much experience you have, these tools are always dangerous, and something can always go wrong, and if it does, it'll be over before your body can finish sending a signal to your brain that something has even happened. And this happened to me while I was building my bee house. Now, before anyone gets too riled up, I'm fine. All my body parts are still attached and still functioning how they're supposed to, but I definitely had a wake-up call that I think is worth sharing. Mainly because the whole shtick of my channel is me showing my realistic build process, including all my screw-ups, so that anyone who wants to make something similar to what I'm making can see where I messed up, and then they will know how to avoid these same mistakes that I made. And I don't think I would be worth my salt as a creator in this space if I didn't show you one of my worst screw-ups so that others can avoid it and prevent really, really bad accidents from happening. Okay, you ready? Here we go. In my second to last video, I was drilling these holes through my bamboo sticks, and the way that I showed it in the video was me clamping each stick so that I can hold it in place, and then using my drill on the side of the table. This was the smart way. It was unfortunately not the first way that I tried it. The original way I tried to do this was by putting on my gloves so that I can have a good grip on each piece and not burn my hand if it started spinning. And then while holding it, I use the drill. And it's funny because every time I'm about to use the table saw or the lathe or any of the other power tools, I actually give myself a pep talk and try to remind myself that even though I'm comfortable with these tools, I need to pay attention. I swear, it sounds ridiculous, but I actually do this. You can even kind of see it in my previous videos when I'm using the table saw. And I always think I look so weird because I do my best to keep my hands as far away from the blade as possible, just in case something goes wrong or something snags. I don't want my fingers to be so close that they will get pulled in. But I guess because this was a handheld drill, which is like the mildest tool out of everything that I have at the shop, and I didn't see it as a threat, I guess I kind of let myself relax a little too much, and I stopped paying attention like I should have. Now, I don't have actual footage of it happening because I stopped recording at this point, but as I was drilling the bamboo, my hand slipped a little too close to the drill bit, and my glove got caught between the bit and the bamboo, and it got my thumb pretty bad. And now this is more funny than anything because I find it so embarrassing because, like I said, out of all of the tools that I have, I hurt myself on a handheld drill. But on the other hand, I'm also very lucky that my wake-up call happened on something that didn't have enough power to seriously hurt me. Had this been one of the other tools, I think the lesson would have been way harsher and the damage way more permanent. I actually know quite a few woodworkers and carpenters that are way more experienced than I am who lost body parts. And when I talked to them about it and what happened to me, they all had similar stories about their accidents. It wasn't some crazy thing that happened on some new tool that they've never used before during some insanely complicated build. It's often something that they've done 1,000 times before on their own machines, and they just said to themselves, I just have to make this quick cut, it's going to be easy. And then they didn't pay enough attention and they got caught in one of the moving parts. So that's why I wanted to make this video separately rather than just including it in my bee house video, because I think it's good to have these reality checks from different makers to keep us safe and alert. As embarrassing as this was for me, and as much as it makes me look like an idiot, I really hope that this helps someone and spares their fingers from unnecessary blending. So, on that note, I wanted to find a way to make this PSA a little more fun rather than just me nagging at you to be careful, because I'm sure everybody loves being nagged. The way that I got this idea was from a video that appeared on my recommendations, and it was someone reading a book that was an H.P. Lovecraft story, The Call of Cthulhu, but it was written in a Dr. Seuss-like prose with the same type of animation. So it looked like a Dr. Seuss book. And I thought this was so cool. I'll link the video down below in case you're interested and you want to see it, but this gave me an idea for something that I want to try. So far, this channel has mostly been focused on woodworking, and that's because I don't want to confuse the YouTube algorithm gods by giving them too much variation here, but I would actually really like to include on here some other stuff that I'm practicing and trying to improve in while still keeping the same theme of what I already have going on. And one of these things is sketching. So I decided to borrow this idea from the author of that book and create a little Dr. Seuss-like story about what I just talked about. The problem was, those iconic characters are apparently harder to draw than I anticipated, and I guess I don't have the range to capture different styles yet. So no matter how hard I tried to draw those characters, they kept coming out in my own style of animation. Which was annoying because what was in my head wasn't coming out on paper. But it's fine because instead I ended up leaning into my own style, and what I ended up with was my style of characters with that anapestic tetrameter that often appears in Dr. Seuss's writings. I guess after this I'll see if I should start venturing into other areas of art periodically, or if I should just stick to woodworking. I'm kind of planning on playing it by ear and seeing how this goes. Alright, here goes nothing. In a land of lumber and whittling machines, where sawdust flies and a woodworker dreams, let's talk about safety, my woodworking friend, for a tale of caution and care where our paths start to blend. Accidents, alas, don't just greet the brand new, for even experts can face a mishap or two. With experience soaring, some dangers increase. So heed this wise counsel, or you'll never find peace. As tools become common in your skilled embrace, comfort can turn into a dangerous place. Don't be fooled by ease, don't let focus stray, for danger lurks close in your lumber-filled play. No matter the years, no matter the fame, tools remain weapons no master can tame. Always remember, for each task and each chore, to keep safety close, even more than before. So no matter the project, please remember my plea. Not even great masters are above injury. Stay aware, stay alert, use your wisdom as guide. For in the world of woodworking, safety comes before pride.